hope you guys enjoyed that first part of the lesson on pentatonic scales. But guess what? There is so much more to learn about pentatonic scales and how to use them. So stay tuned because there's so much more to come. Stay tuned. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Hey guys, so we were talking about the minor pentatonic, and we were in the key of A. We took an A minor scale and we picked out the 5 notes of those 7 that make a minor pentatonic. And so from that minor pentatonic today we're going to look at the relative major pentatonic. So with every minor pentatonic scale there's a relative major pentatonic scale. With every major pentatonic scale there's a relative minor pentatonic scale. So that term relative, what does that mean? Simply means that they're related. In other words, they have the same notes. So if we take an A minor scale, we're going to find out that the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A, are the exact same notes from a C major scale, just in a different order. In other words, there are no sharps or flats. The key signature is exactly the same. So the relative major for A minor would be C major. So the relative minor for C major would be A minor, right? So if we take a C major pentatonic scale, we're going to notice that we're taking all of the same notes from the A minor pentatonic scale. It's just we're starting in a different place. We're starting on C. So the numbers for the major pentatonic scale kind of work the same way, only they have a different name. I'll explain. Since we're in the key of C major, we're going to start on C, which would be 1, the major one, the big I, if you're using the Roman numeral system. So 1, we're going to play the C, which is the first note in the key of C major. It's also going to be the first note in this C major pentatonic scale. So we're going to play the first note. We're going to play the second note, which would be D. We're going to play the third note, which would be E, the third note of the scale. So we have C, D, E. Then we're going to skip the 4th note and we're going to play the 5th note, which would be G. Then we're going to play the 6th note, which is A. We're going to skip the major 7 and we're going to play the octave again, C, the first note. So we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. There's our major pentatonic scale. Now if we look at the note names, we're playing C, D, E, G, A, C. Just like that minor pentatonic, we were playing A, C, D, E, G, A. We're playing the same notes, just in a different order. So that's why they're called relative major and minor pentatonics. Now when you listen to them, it sounds like you're playing something different when you hear the same starting note. If I start on C, the overall sound of it sounds like it comes from a major scale. It has this very happy, pleasant, major scale sound. When I start on the A minor, it's got more of a darker minor kind of sound to it. But the cool thing, we're playing the exact same notes. So that's the really cool thing about relative major and minors. Once we start to get the hang of them, we start to hear them, we start to realize, okay, we're playing the same notes. Now visually and fingering wise, it's a little bit different. Let's talk about that fingering. So for the most part, I believe in shifting on the first finger. So I'm going to start on C here. And I'm going to play this finger pattern. C, I'm going to shift on my first finger to D. Then 4th finger is going to go on the E, the 3rd note. 1st finger is going to go here on the G. 4th finger on the A. 1st finger on the C. Shift back down on the 1st finger. So first note, C, shift, D, E, G, A, C. Then I would shift if I want to keep going. D, E, shift again, and I can keep going the full range. So there's my C major pentatonic. So let's say I wanted to improvise a line over a C major scale. Well, I could use that C major pentatonic. So here's a really cool thing to look at. How these scales look visually. For example, there's always a geometric pattern or something that you can look at that can help you memorize the shape. This is the reason why I use these fingerings. Are there other ways to play these scales? Absolutely. I could play C, D, E, G, A, C. Same with the minor pentatonic. I could play another fingering for that as well. I could play the A here, the C here, D, E, G, A. And there's tons of other ways. I could play all of the notes on one string, C, D, E. Then I could jump here to the G, then here to the A, then here to the C. So there's a lot of ways to play them. The reason why I use this pattern is because it's usually the one that I find to be the most comfortable, the most musical, the easiest one to adapt to within a song progression. So I'll use this fingering, and because I'm consistent on where I shift, it's easy to remember and to play even without looking at the instrument. And so we're going to use this fingering, C, D. And the way I visualize it is that there's this linear line, if you will, that takes up 3 notes on one string before I switch. Here's the C, then I'm going to skip a fret, the D, then I'm going to skip a fret, and the E. So there's 3 notes that happen on that string, 2 on the next, which are right in the same fret as the previous 2 that I just played, and then there. So it creates this little box pattern that's easy to keep up with. Same with the minor. And so I can keep that pattern no matter where on the fretboard I find that starting note. Anywhere I find a C, I can keep the same pattern that starts on the C, skips a fret and plays the second note, D, E, G, A, C. So I could do that here on this C. C, D, E, G, A, C. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So that's the good thing about having a consistent finger pattern when you practice these scales. It'll also help you get used to memorizing the fretboard and the shapes of these scales, because what we're really playing is shapes. And why do we say shapes? Because you're playing a stringed instrument. No matter what key I'm in, that shape is going to be the same way. If I went up half a step to the key of D flat major. If I go up to D. If I go up to E flat. If I go up to E. So the shape is always going to be the same. So that's another good reason to have a consistent pattern that you go to. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn other ways to play those, but it's always good to have a starting point that is very consistent so you can get into the mode of playing right away. And I believe in having a fingering that is very musical, that allows you to perform other inflections on the notes, which we'll talk about in the more advanced videos. But for now, we just want to get you started playing and recognizing these sounds when you hear them. It's one thing, again, just like with the minor pentatonic, you want to practice hearing all of the intervals. You want to practice hearing what it sounds like to go from the 1 to the 2. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you can sing along with it, you know. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Hum along with the sound, you know. You don't have to be a great singer, just you hear the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, dun, 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 dun. And you'll come up with little bass lines and things you hear. If you're a fan of a lot of the traditional gospel sound and the gospel quartet sound, then you're probably used to hearing a lot of these patterns already in the bass lines. You hear the pentatonic pattern, the 1, 6, 5, 6, 1. You'll hear that a lot in the driving quartet songs. And then 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. The war cry. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. right? So a lot of those bass lines are very pentatonic based. Not only those, but even a lot of the more modern songs, you'll use a lot of those movements as well to move throughout the progression. And so practice along with those pentatonics, the major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic. See if you can come up with some different lines, and I'll try to provide some examples in some other short tip lessons that I'm going to be working on as well. So enjoy that. Hope that lesson helped you a lot. Minor pentatonics, major pentatonics. Keep practicing. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned because I have more videos coming for you in these lesson series that are coming up. All right, have a wonderful day.